Their early work was a little too new wave for my taste. But when Sports came out in '83, I think they really came into their own, commercially and artistically. The whole album has a clear, crisp sound and a new sheen of consummate professionalism that really gives the songs a big boost.
Warning, this video is full of spoilers for a lot of cool movies. For example, Darth Vader is really Luke Skywalker's mother. Okay, let's lay out the ground rules. There's an internet joke going around about the type of guy who watches a movie and then tries to reshape his entire personality based on a character from the movie that's obviously an asshole. I'm going to be reviewing a bunch of these types of movies and giving a brief overview of my opinion on them, and I want you to keep in mind that everything I say in this video is 100% serious. While trying to find a definition for what exactly makes a male manipulator movie, I stumbled across this list, and this is where I'm going to be drawing most of the choices for the movies in this video. Number 1. Fight Club. Starting off by breaking the first rule of this classic tale of whether it's a good idea to be a soap salesman or not, we have Fight Club. Like a lot of movies on this list, I think if people engaged with it on any level further than the surface level, it wouldn't be on here. Tyler Durden is not someone to look up to. The narrator is very obviously struggling with a loss of identity and sense of purpose in life. The movie is about a dude struggling with himself, and the extremist ideologies are not being glorified, but critiqued. There's also really cool themes about anti-establishment and anti-consumerism, so, it's a great movie. 9 out of 10. Number 2, The Social Network. If your instinct after seeing this is to start building a tech company, I think you missed the point. You should be suing people who own tech companies. Michael Cera is incredibly talented at playing these kinds of characters, and also any soundtrack Reznor has a part of is like King Midas's older, cooler cousin turning things into diamonds instead of gold. 8 out of 10. Number 3, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. Wow, what a fun-filled romp delving into my own teenage angst and a sense of longing. I sure do hope there's no ambiguous title characters who date high school students and definitely shouldn't be the nicest guy anyone's ever dated. Jesse Eisenberg does a phenomenal job playing these types of characters. This movie also always makes me want to see a movie about Beck's life and creative process. I just think that'd be a great biopic. Number 4, American Psycho. This one's like Fight Club, just 1,000 times worse. And I have a serious bone to pick with y'all, because this movie is not just about a misunderstood loner in a society or whatever. It's really a satire piece about how people who listen to music are losers. Oh, Radiohead's the greatest band in the world. Oh, Lateralis isn't music, it's an experience. Shut up, you nerd. 7 out of 10. Undisputed masterpiece. Number 5, Taxi Driver. As it turns out, casting an actual 12-year-old girl to play a prostitute does have far-reaching consequences. Who would have thought? This entire film feels like a dream, in that my mom fell asleep when I tried to show her the movie. This is a story that asks moral questions about the right place and time. If Travis had been able to kill the senator, he would have. But thanks to circumstance, he becomes a hero in the eyes of the public. Premeditated violence was there regardless, yet he experiences redemption, like so many of Scorsese's protagonists. Amazing movie, 9 out of 10. All I have are negative thoughts. Oh look, it's Taxi Driver Part 2. I really liked this movie, but yeah, it's highly, highly derivative, and I often wonder how well it would have been received had it not been the IP from the DC. 4 out of 10. Number 7, The Dark Knight. This wouldn't be on this list at all if it wasn't for people idolizing the Joker, but this classic tale of chaos against order is great. I'm sorry. This movie blew my mind when I saw it and was my introduction to Christopher Nolan's material. The final scenes where the Joker is actually wrong and people do have empathy and the capacity for goodness had me jumping out of my seat, pumping my fist in the air, and smiling ear to ear. Amazing, amazing. You want to know how I got these scars? My father was a drinker and a coward. So one night he gets more fucked up than usual, and he starts something up with my mother. I had to do something, so I started pushing in between them. And then my dad, he shoves her to the ground, and he stuck an arrow in my knee. I used to be an adventurer just like you once. 8 out of 10. Number 8, Pulp Fiction. What? This is my favorite Tarantino movie. Shockingly bland take, I know. But there are reasons this fantastically violent film is considered a masterpiece, from the monologues about whether foot massages are inherently sexual to the absolute delight of Christopher Walken giving a little boy the watch his dad left him. This is a movie for people who like movies, and it drips with the coolness every wannabe director and film bro wishes they had. Some might say the movie has little point, but I would say otherwise. I think we learn a very valuable lesson when the overdose happens, and again when Vincent gets killed. That lesson being going to the bathroom for long periods of time has terrible consequences, and you will burn in hell for doing it. In a time when lots of mainstream movies are experiencing an era of mass-produced cynical commercialism and an ungodly loss of identity, and when the individual writer and director are becoming obsolete in favor of legacy material, franchise material, and sequels we didn't ask for, we see the hands of the cosmic clock are inching into position once again. Just like A Clockwork Orange had done decades before, just like Pulp Fiction did in the 90s, who will be the next to shake up a bloated industry foundering on a lack of imagination? What's gonna... 10 out of 10. Number 9, Superbad. Yeah, well, I'm sorry that the Coen brothers don't direct the porn that I watch. They're hard to get a hold of, okay? Okay, this shouldn't even be on the list. This movie is great. 7 out of 10. Number 10, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. I've always found it interesting that Jim Carrey made a career out of very over-the-top physical comedy and cartoonish mannerisms only for his greatest performance to be in one of the strangest serious romance movies I've ever seen. While the main characters are both more unstable than VVG, they do everything they can to exit each other's lives. Yet in the end, they always find each other, and I think that's really sweet. Number 11, A Clockwork Orange. If you've never seen this beautifully calm film about Beethoven's music, you definitely should. The internet would have you believe this is a well-received masterpiece, and like most things on the internet, this is not true. I've tried talking about this movie with many different people in my life when I first saw it because of how impactful it was to me, and people either had no idea what it was, or they actively hated it. I have still not met anyone in real life who knows this movie and enjoys this movie. And I guess that's because it's pretty extreme, and if you're not used to engaging with media that uses an unreliable narrator, it can be jarring. But to me, the highlight of this movie is the question it asks about human nature and morality. The main character is evil by nature, but is changed to be unable to think bad thoughts, and what constitutes as a bad thought is decided by the government, and his brainwashing leaves him a shell of his former self. Is free will worth it? 9 out of 10. Needs less singing in the rain. And finally, the number one biggest red flag movie that a guy could be watching is Twilight. If you meet a guy and he says he likes the Twilight movies, run away. No. Each like on this video equals one girl dressing up as Patrick Bateman and making him infinitely cooler. If this video gets to 1,000 likes, I'll make a sequel. Irony. Thank you so much for watching. Reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Buy gold. Bye.